A devastating shooting rocks the campus of Michigan State University on the 5-year anniversary of the Parkland school shooting tragedy. We have the latest. And here in Oklahoma, local elections are ramping up, and we have a look ahead. Plus, windy weather is rolling through the area, what you can expect coming up. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Cameron Joyner.
And I'm Dana Searles. We begin tonight with breaking news that wicked Oklahoma wind is causing major problems. Right now, we know that OG&E is reporting around 8,000 people without power.
And we know that a traffic light has been blown down on Lindsay Street right in front of Gaylord College. OU Nightly meteorologist Colton Williams is there live. Colton, what's the latest?
Yeah, that's right, ladies. Sort of a weather whiplash from this time yesterday. Sunny skies, calm weather, temperatures in the upper 60s. All of those things are still true today, except now you add in 40 to 50 mile per hour winds. The latest wind gust measurement out of the Norman Mesonet site was 44 miles per hour. Norman has seen a maximum wind gust of 57 miles per hour today. And again, as you guys spoke, is causing some power outage issues. Now that's 8,000 homes statewide without power right now. That is several more thousand customers. Okay, now here on Lindsay Street, we're not sure if the 57 mile per hour wind gust was responsible for this, but I'll step out of the way. You can see here the wind gusts here in Norman have blown down this light pole right here on Lindsay Street. These are very, very heavy and very hard to blow over, and the several more surrounding them are shaking as well. So this is impactful enough to cause some problems of, some sort of measure here that we continue to see, and we're going to continue to track these wind gusts all throughout the evening. And Catherine Liberta has the latest updates on that forecast. Catherine, what can you tell us?
Thanks, Colton. We are seeing drastic wind gusts. We can see that here in Norman, we are seeing, like you said, 45 mile per hour wind gusts. Now, these wind gusts combined with the dry temperatures and, dry dew points that we are seeing is what is going to cause the risk for fire danger. So the lowest dew points and the highest winds are in southwestern Oklahoma. So that's why they are seeing this high to extreme fire danger. Now, this wind is going to continue throughout the rest of the evening. We are under a wind advisory until 6 p.m. tonight. Now, coming up a little later in the newscast, I'm going to tell you when those winds are going to die down, plus when our temperatures are going to drop drastically. And if you're heading out for Valentine's this evening, I'll have that full forecast coming up in just a bit. Cameron?
Thanks, Catherine. Now on to the latest on a mass shooting at Michigan State University's campus last night. CNN reporter Evan Rodriguez has the details.
Terrifying moments Monday night at Michigan State University as students ran for their lives or hid in their classrooms. Police in pursuit of a gunman who opened fire in an academic building before heading to the student union.
Right when that first gunshot went off, I booked it to the far corner of the class. I was sitting right next to the door where he came in.
Guys were telling us to run out the back doors as quick as we can and run for our lives.
Police found the bodies of 2 students in Berkey Hall and another at the student union. 5 other students were critically injured. The suspect, identified by police as 43-year-old Anthony Dwayne McCrae, died from a self-inflicted gunshot.
We have absolutely no idea what the motive was at this point.
Rosman says McCrae had no connection to the school, but he did have a criminal record. Court records show McCrae pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor firearm charge in 2019. He gave up his weapon as part of the plea deal and served probation until May 2021. The focus for many is on the victims and their families.
We're devastated at the loss of life, and we want to wrap our warm arms around every family that is touched by this tragedy.
Classes are canceled until Monday as the school brings in resources to help students cope with what happened. I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
People have taken to Twitter expressing their frustration with gun violence across the country. Coming up in the News Center, how President Joe Biden is reacting.
And happening now, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation is looking into a body found at Lake Thunderbird State Park. OSBI says a woman's body was found last night at the lake, and investigators say the body is being examined at the medical examiner's office.
Ballots have been cast all over Cleveland County today. OU Nightly's Jayden and Brannon got to talk to those working at a polling place about what is on the ballot. Jayden.
Thanks, Cameron. I'm out here at one of Cleveland County's polling places where ballots are being cast for city council members and for school bond issues that are being voted on. And I got to talk to some folks about why they think that this election is important.
Voters are hitting the polls today across Cleveland County to decide who will represent them in city council. But one topic that many are concerned about are propositions for Norman Public Schools.
Proposition 1's by far the biggest and most involved, and it benefits every single school in the Norman School District.
The propositions are to approve bond issues that will include expanding classrooms to remove outside portable classrooms, improving FFA facilities, creating esports classrooms, and the addition of the Aviation Academy. But one of the greatest concerns is today's voter turnout.
There needs to be some way that students can find out, our precinct in particular, can find out what the issues are, who's running, so that they'll know that this is their responsibility and they need to, help democracy go forward.
Judges and clerks of Precinct 332 right next to OU's
pick up
campus.
one of these paper applications at a polling place, or you can register online at www.ok.gov/elections. And if you're already registered to vote, the polling places will be open until 7 p.m. tonight. Reporting live, Jayden Brannon, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Jayden. And Oklahomans are celebrating Oklahoma Black History by creating more Black history. OU Nightly's Gouch spoke with leaders yesterday at the Capitol as they honored their heritage.
History is really a story of American progress.
In celebration of Black History Month, Black community leaders gathered at the Oklahoma Capitol to celebrate those who came before them. Those among these historic leaders include civil rights activist Marilyn Looper Hildreth, Lieutenant General Stacey Hawkins, and the first Black female mayor in the United States, Leila Foley Davis.
We have come a long way, but we still have hope.
We know that Black history is every day, and we have to celebrate our history and our ancestors, and certainly we hope that we lengthen the legacy and that we create our own history, but that's why we're in the Capitol, because this is our house, this is the people's house.
Students from elementary to high school were invited to witness this history in the works. Marching bands from local high schools and a step performance by the first ever Black fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, kept the children entertained while they learned from the past. Some representatives say that learning this history is imperative to the youth because it is being taken out of schools.
It's important that we have a voice at the Capitol, especially with all the things that are happening to attack the history aspect of our community. So we want to make sure all of that is entailed in what we're doing.
Speakers here say Black history is a part of Oklahoma history, which is why a day like today is so important. Celebrating the contributions of Black Oklahomans and teaching the youth the importance of their history was what today was all about. Reporting at the first ever Black History Day at the Capitol, Gouch, OU Nightly.
We are hearing from President Biden after the tragedy out of Michigan. Carolynn Fitzer has that and the rest of today's national headlines from the News Center.
President Joe Biden now urging lawmakers to do something after the shooting in Michigan.
It's happening far too often in this country, far too often. While we gather more information, there's one thing we do know to be true. We have to do something to stop gun violence ripping apart our communities.
The attack was the 67th mass shooting this year, according to data from the nonprofit group Gun Violence Archive. Reporters say the gunman struggled with mental health after his mother's death. And 5 years ago today, the Parkland shooting took place. President Joe Biden adding on to his remarks today about gun violence.
No rationale. Wise that, and I'm going to say something that's always controversial, but there is no rationale for assault weapons and magazines that hold 50, 70 bullets.
Since the shooting, in Florida, laws have been passed passing the age to buy firearms in the state, also taking guns away from those deemed to be a threat, and increasing mental health resources for students. The majority Stoneman-Douglas High School Public Safety Act was also passed, which allowed some teachers to be armed in schools. Here in the state, more than 100 bills are in the works that could increase firearm access in Oklahoma. Some of the bills created would allow firearm in places such as parked cars on school property, also expanding access to firearms while on boats, and increasing the area in which a person can reasonably discharge their gun in self-defense. Democratic lawmakers have filed several bills aiming to regulate firearms and tracking gun deaths. Cameron, Dana.
Thanks, Ireland. Two senators from both parties are coming together this session to write some new legislation for online safety.
Find out who it would protect coming up. Today in Washington, D.C., lawmakers focusing on protecting children while on the internet. OU Nightly's Carolynn Felling has this headline and more in today's Science and Technology.
Yeah, thanks, Dana. Senators from both parties joined President Biden to create legislation protecting minors online. Today, the Senate Judiciary Committee is calling out companies like Facebook and Snapchat for prioritizing profits over the well-being of children. The chairman is also working on a bill protecting children from sex abuse online. And here at the University of Oklahoma, they are reporting that they have hit the highest level of research expenditures ever. In 2022, OU reported over $416 million in research and development expenditures. Expenditures make research activities and are compared to other peer institutions. The university's Norman campus increased by 9% from previous years, and the federal sponsor research rising in over 11%. And UCO alum Corey Martin created a gown for the Super Bowl commercial. Take a look at this. It's the triangle gown worn in the 90-second Doritos commercial. You might remember Jack Harlow starred in it. The model wearing a unique high-low gown covered in heavy metal triangles with a striking white hat decorated in matching silver triangles. Martin says he learned how to sew with his family, and he is currently a costume tailor. Cameron, Dana.
Thanks, Carolyn. And we are following that breaking news. The crazy Oklahoma winds causing power outages like this, a light pole on Lindsay Street blown down.
We're live with the very latest on that situation and a look at when the winds might die down. Coming up next on OU Nightly. Welcome back to OU Nightly. We are following some breaking news right now. Winds gusting 40 to 50 miles an hour have caused power outages across Oklahoma.
Yeah, right now close to 7,000 people are without power, and we know OU students who live at the Edge apartments near Boyd and Classen are without power, and students inside Headington College as well on Campus Corner. They're telling us that we know lights are flickering off and on right now. Colton Williams is live with the latest on a downed power pole outside of Gaylord College. Colton?
Yeah, that's right, ladies. Continuing to report here from Lindsay Street as the wind continues to howl, and hearing the same reports you all are as power outages and bumps happening all across the Norman area and across the greater Oklahoma City metro. Now, one thing that's happening as a result of these winds, you know, we've been in a severe drought. We've got dormant vegetation, lots of dust settling. These are the strongest winds we've seen in several months. I'll step out of the way. You can see visibility continuing to be reduced from blowing dust in the atmosphere, creating a hazy look over the sky and down the streets. If you can see there on camera, the visibility lowering down Lindsay Street. Nothing too dramatic, but still something to keep in mind as you get out on your commute home this evening. And again, we've seen wind gusts upwards of Category 1 hurricane scale in the state of Oklahoma today. Now, thankfully, we have kind of hit the apex in terms of our wind gusts. We will, as we head into the 5 o'clock hour, decrease them as we go again throughout your Valentine's Day evening. So we're just about done dealing with dangerous wind gusts, but I'm going to toss it to Carolynn Liberta to give you the full details on that forecast. For now, reporting live on Lindsay Street, Colton Williams.
Well, thanks, Colton, for being out there and being in the wind. I mean, look at these wind gusts right now. we are seeing 45-mile-an-hour wind gusts here in Norman, and it's the same story across the state. Now, these winds are going to die down as we head into the evening hours. We can see that today we had our strongest wind gusts around midday, but it's going to lower down as we head into this evening. Now, our wind advisory is going to stick until 6 p.m. tonight, and this wind advisory is covering most of the state. Now, we did have some rain that came through last night into this morning. We had just over a ½ inch here in Norman and the Oklahoma City area, but it wasn't enough to bring us out of these dry conditions that we've been having. Now, mixing those dry conditions with the strong wind gusts, that's why we are going to see areas of blowing dust like you saw outside just a minute ago. So if you're heading home from work, you know, that blowing dust could impact your travel. Now, as we look at our current temperatures right now across the state, it's beautiful outside besides the wind. The temperatures are in the upper 50s and lower 60s. Now, as we head into this evening, if you do have some Valentine's Day plans, the temperatures are going to lower down to about the low 50s, as we head throughout the evening. The winds, like I said, should lighten up, but it is going to be a beautiful night to go out if you have any Valentine's Day or Galentine's Day plans. Now, looking at our highs for tomorrow, we are going to see another beautiful day, not as windy, but we do have a cold front. We can see it right here. It's going to be moving into the state later tomorrow, and that's going to drop our temperatures down drastically. So as we look at our week, we can see that we are going to be way above average tomorrow, but then that cold front comes through and it's going to drop us way below average on Thursday before we come right back up for the rest of the weekend. Now, as we look at our 7-day forecast, like I said, Wednesday, it's going to be beautiful. Temperatures in the 70s before that cold front comes through, and then we are going to have temperatures in the 40s on Thursday before we rise right back up into the 50s, and we're even getting close to 70 on Sunday before we hit the 70s on Monday. It looks like next week is going to be beautiful. Dana and Cameron?
Thanks, Catherine, and we'll check back in with you in a bit.
Sports is up next.
Hello, I'm Zoe Watson, and these OU and men's and women's gymnasts will have Sooner fans flipping out with their near-perfect scores. Freshman Ignacio Yockers landed into this week for another award. He was named the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation Men's Gymnastics Specialist of the Week. He scored a 15.100 on his pommel horse routine, sealing the win over #1 Stanford. The two OU women's gymnasts also showed off their impressive routines to win awards this week. Freshman Faith Torres took Newcomer of the Week and is the first women's gymnast to earn back-to-back honors this season. And sophomore Jordan Bowers earned the Big 12 Gymnast of the Week for the 5th time in her career. The 9th-ranked OU men's golf swung through their competition in Puerto Rico, earning first place. Today's final round, the Tim shot a 272 round total to take over East Tennessee by 5 strokes. This was their 2nd consecutive win at the Puerto Rico Classic. And the OKC Thunder fought to the finish with the New Orleans Pelicans. Jalen Williams put on a show at the Paycom Arena, scoring a 22 points with 7 rebounds. And Josh Giddey went hard in the paint with 17 points and 7 rebounds. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander followed suit, joining 24 points and 10 rebounds. The Pelicans flew home with the win, 103-100. But OKC has another chance to win at home tomorrow night against the Houston Rockets at 7 p.m. Cameron, Dana, back to you.
Thanks, Zoe. Coming up, we'll tell you how some well-known Sooners are spreading love this Valentine's Day.
Yeah, stick around to hear those clever Valentines. Our very own OU football team has taken it to social media to spread some love on Valentine's Day.
I know, check this out. We've got various players with some fun sayings. We've got Key Lawrence being the key to your heart.
All right, next we got Drake Stoops, 12 out of 10, and as well as Billy Bowman with the "You just got intercepted, my heart."
Now this one is my personal favorite. Austin Stogner, who recently transferred back to OU, he says, "I'll always come back to you." That was a really sweet shout out from our football team.
Yeah, definitely. And before we get let's check one last time in with the weather. Let's get the latest on the power outages caused by those gusting Oklahoma winds.
Right now, we know OG&E is reporting around 6,000 people are without power. Power is restored at the Edge apartments right now, and lights are flickering across campus. Let's get the latest on the winds from meteorologist Carolynn Liberta.
Thanks, Cameron. Well, hopefully those power outages don't affect your Valentine's Day plans, because if you're heading out tonight, temperatures are going to be beautiful. Right before dinner, you are going to see temperatures in the lower 60s, and by the time you get out of dinner, temperatures are going to drop down to those lower 50s. But looking at the rest of the week, temperatures tomorrow are going to be beautiful before we have a strong cold front that is going to move in Wednesday night into Thursday, which is going to drop your temperatures down into the 40s. Back to you at the desk.
That's all we have for you tonight on OU Nightly. Thanks, Catherine. And we can also tell you crews are working on that down stoplight on Lindsay Street. We'll keep an eye on things for you and an update. Good night.